So anyway, welcome to what I'm describing as the Phoenix Journeys, a shamanic workshop in soul contract and soul wounding. But before we dive into that, let me describe a little bit about what shamanism is, because a lot of people might have heard the term, but they're not quite sure what it is. But basically, in my experience, shamanism is three things. It's a form of culture. And people would argue that it's the oldest form of culture, that you go back, 10,000, 15, 20,000 years ago, and people all over the world have sort of the same experience, that the world is full of spirit, that we're not alone in this, that we're surrounded by a level of intelligence, a level of compassion, a level of wisdom that we're all a part of. And so because of that experience and that understanding, these are cultures that have developed methods of connecting with spirit helpers, spirit teachers, for information, for healing, for wisdom, for direction. So it's a culture, it's a set of methods for connecting with spirit, and then the last thing that, out of those methods comes a very sophisticated form of mind, body, spirit healing. And these are so-called primitive cultures, what we would describe as primitive. And all primitive really means from an anthropological standpoint is they're not technological. Doesn't mean they're stupid. Their brains are just as big as ours, and they were facing the same problems. How to stay healthy. What's the meaning of life? What do you do when you die? How do you navigate your life? And so I think what they actually developed, since they couldn't, rely on technology and machinery, was they were able to develop some of the most sophisticated ways of using our mind and our spirit to solve problems, to get clarity, to heal. So that's sort of the background of what we're going to be doing today. That's the tradition we're working in. Is these methods and techniques that have been developed all over the world, from the Arctic to the tropics, from sea level to 16, 17,000 feet up in the mountains. People all over the world have learned how to connect with spirit helpers. And that is really the most powerful thing you're going to do today. I mean, initially you're going to, you've come here with a topic, an issue, a concern, and you're going to engage with, finding that problem, whether it's money or love or career or something very unique to you, and healing it. And that's going to be a good thing. But the real lasting benefit, I think, is in connecting with spirit and being able to realize and have this experience. It's not an idea, it's not a faith, that we're not alone. And there's this amazing level of help and power, available to anybody who wants to ask for it and reach out for it. So that's really the gist. But in terms of the specific thing we're doing today, the soul contract work, this is something that comes out of a Peruvian shamanic tradition high up in the Andes, the Laika. And they have discovered that in any area of your life, both in a topic like love, or money, or work, or sexuality, or health, you have an original wound. You also have an original wound for your soul's entire journey. So you can use this process to do that. But that's a very, very big piece of work, and you can't do it in a day. But in a day, what you can do is you can go to this original wound in, say, the area of love. And this is your soul's first experience of loss, of pain, of fear in that area. And it marks you very, very deeply. And it marks you in two ways. Is in this pain or the confusion or whatever the situation you're in, your soul makes a deal. It makes a contract with life, with itself, to try to escape or rectify, make it all better. And that contract is binding. It's held at the level of the soul. The other thing that happens is our soul has a self-protective mechanism that when it's threatened or endangered, it leaves. We've all heard stories of people being in accidents or being very ill or in some kind of an assault, and they literally find themselves looking down at the body, at the experience. Well, your soul has this ability to leave. So that's the good news, is the soul is never hurt, never damaged, never impacted. But what can happen is not all of the soul will return. Parts of it will stay out there. So, which leaves you not quite yourself. So the essence of this process today, of these journeys, is to go to that wound and to heal it, and to return whatever parts of you may be missing. So we'll be doing this in a set of, we'll be going to the 4 chambers of the soul: the chamber of wounds, the chamber of contracts, the chamber of grace, and the chamber of treasures. And in the chamber of wounds, you'll go to find the original wound in a given area and observe what it was that happened. You're not going to re-experience it. You're just going to go see what it was that happened and start the healing process. Then you'll go to the chamber of contracts to see the contract you made and how it still binds you and limits you today. But most importantly, you're going to write a new one. You're going to dissolve the old one and write a new one. Then you'll be going to the chamber of grace to meet your unwounded self. And as I said, the soul is never damaged. No matter what happens, the damage, if there is damage, is at the level of the body, the memories, the psyche. But the soul is intact and pure. So you're going to go find that intact, pure essence and engage with it and bring it back. And then the last chamber is the chamber of treasures, where you're going to go find a soul gift in your area. And this is this can be an attitude, an object, a power. It's something that's going to help you and guide you going forwards in whatever area you're working on today. So that's kind of the big structure. And in terms of the overall movement, you start off kind of more on the information end of things, learning the story. But you very quickly move into action and change. So you move from seeing the wounding, to changing the contract, to meeting and bringing your original self back, to engaging with the gift and learning from it and also bringing it back. So one of the things that makes this process so powerful is that it is so much more than information and insight. You are literally going to another dimension to find missing parts of yourself, to go back to wherever this story is held and change it. And because, in effect, the original wound is like a stone being thrown into the pond of time and space. And there are ripples coming out from that are still affecting you to this day. And using the help of spirit healers and teachers and journeying, you're actually going to go back to see the nature of that stone and actually change it, so the ripples that are coming off will be different. Now, I don't expect you to just take this on faith. The essence of shamanism is that it's the direct experience. It's not a religion. It's not a question of believing things. It's a question of just doing things and trusting your experience. And that's one of the most important thing I can say about today, is that really, really trust what happens. Everybody journeys in a very, very unique and personal way. Some people are very visual, and they have, three-dimensional Hollywood-style experiences full of lights, colors, and action. And other people are very, very kinesthetic. at the other end of the spectrum, and they never actually see anything. It's all felt. So they know they're leaving their body. They know they're traveling to this other place. They know they're going down. They know they can feel the gatekeeper. They can feel the essence of the story. And then some people are sort of in the middle, where they see maybe flashes of images, or it's like they're looking through a keyhole and they see little pictures, or they might just see colored blobs against a dark background. There's no way of predicting how you're going to experience this. So just be open to however it presents itself, because we're all very, very different, and we're all on a very unique and personal path.